recently asked to do a short demo video of how I do my watercolor portraits. So I thought, why not? This could be fun. I've been doing some portraits lately, and my last two portraits were a portrait of Kino, who unfortunately passed away last week, as you all know, and a portrait of my wife. I'm going to do a portrait of my father and my baby daughter today. And well, for start, let me tell you what I use. I used a very short palette with 6 or 7 colors. I use Daniel Smith watercolors, and for the skin tone, for example, I use Hansa light yellow. I use the Pearl Scarlet and the French ultramarine. These 3 colors are used to do the skin tone. That's what I used to do, the skin tone. For skin shading, I use the Serpentine Genuine, which is kind of a olive green, and lavender. The difference is that Serpentine is more transparent and lavender is a semi-opaque color, but they all have specific areas where you can use them for shading. And even if you think that it's kind of weird to use green for skin shading, you should try and watch Joaquim Sorolla paintings and see the use of green that he does in skin shading and skin tones, which is absolutely fantastic. I also use opera pink. This is a very intense pink. It's very, very intense, and it's very good for highlighting. For example, I can show you this, where I have this highlight here, and in the skin cheeks. Of course, if you use it in a softer manner, you can always obtain different results. And of course, for highlighting and tracing and finer details, I use Jane's Gray, which is a very transparent gray. It has a beautiful, beautiful blue-purple cast, and it works perfect. Okay, so let's do it. I'm going to start with a sketch, with a very light, quick sketch of what I'm about to do. I'm using a reference photo, of course, and well, hope you enjoyed. So here's the result. Let me walk you through a little bit, even if you watch the video. Of course, I'm gonna give you a little explanation. Well, first you do the sketch, as you could see. And then I got the paper a little bit wet with a simple water spray like this one, okay? And so the water spray gets you to add more transparency and let the watercolor flow wherever you want to. Okay, so it's very important to keep the paper wet in some areas to let these bits of color overflow your limits. Okay, it's a watercolor, so it's kind of a relaxed mood. It has to deal with some transparency and some lightness, and it adds some movement and some. It gets the picture to work in a more dynamic way too. First, I did the skin tone, as you could watch. I used the red, the yellow, and the blue. Get this skin tone. I left some of the areas in the nose and the cheek white on purpose. This is areas that I had no paint whatsoever in these areas because I wanted to look to give it a shiny look. Okay, then I also added a bit more concentrated pigment to these areas where the shading occurred, and the hair, the gray hair of my father was done with some Jane's gray and some ultramarine. Even this shading here, and the jacket is serpentine genuine, so let it drip like this. This is also Jane's gray here. This is ultramarine, as you can see, and my daughter's face is done with the same color, only added a little bit more of ochre pink. There's also ochre pink here, and the limits, you know, and the nose and the ears, even here, it's like a pink cast of the skin tone. You have to work in a very transparent way. You have to think that in watercolor everything works in a more relaxed way. So you have to obtain a certain control of the watercolors, but at the same time the watercolor must work for itself. Okay, so you should not be worried for things like this little spot of ochre pink. It's there, it's okay. The shading of the baby's head, the blue cast on this side, that fine line of ochre pink that she had over there, the hands, everything. It's very relaxed. If it blurs a bit, like it did here, or all over the head, it's okay. It's a watercolor. Okay, it's supposed to do this as long as it doesn't get out of control. So the first thing that I did after doing the face, and you should notice in the video that I've done the face, some of the shading, the jacket, and then I evidently you just don't see it on the video, but I paused for about half an hour, 1 hour or something. I let it dry thoroughly, and then I started to add some details like the shading of the hair. If you notice the beard is white, but you only do the shading, so it looks, in my opinion, I like the result because I did exactly what I wanted to do. Little brush strokes, very relaxed, thin layers of watercolor, thin layers of color, and it all works perfectly. Okay, I hope you enjoyed just as much as I did.